Hi, everybody. It's LA. Just wanted to drop in and share my latest read for this month, or um, I should say my completed read, because I'm actually reading a few books this month. But I'm not quite sure what made me think that I was going to be able to leisurely read a novel while I'm in the middle of a class. I'm taking a rhetoric and writing class at a local university here in my city, and it's only one day a week, but in between working full time, doing this class, in the process of moving, it's like, when did I think I was really going to have time to do this? But I made it happen. I chose a mystery book. It was by one of my favorite mystery suspense writers, Lisa Gardner. I've been reading Lisa for probably about 10 years. I'm a very big fan of hers. I have not read everything that she's written, but for sure, when I'm browsing the bookstore selection, if I come across her name, it's a very high likelihood that I will pick up a book of hers. So the book that I chose was a 2017 release entitled Right Behind You. I don't have a physical copy of the book because I actually rented the book through the Overdrive app, which I'm sure you've heard of it if you are an avid reader, such as myself. But it's an app that connects with several thousand local libraries. And it's funny because I was a Audible book member, or an Audible member, for quite some time, and I finally decided to give Overdrive a try, maybe last summer or earlier this year. But anyway, so I downloaded the ebook, and actually, which was a surprise to me, I didn't know that through Overdrive it was going to connect it to my Kindle account, which is where the book came. So I've been reading the books. I believe I rented it for about 21 days, and I got a notification on Sunday that I had like 3 days left before this was going to expire. And at that time, I was only halfway through with it, and I did not want it to expire without having finished reading the book. So just to give a quick synopsis, the book is about two kids who were affected by a family trauma. There's an older brother, younger sister. 8 years ago, the brother killed their father, who had attacked the mother. Both the parents were drug addicts, alcoholics, and it's a story of these kids being separated and kind of trying to find themselves back to each other in the midst of the older brother. Like I said, 8 years after their separation, he's going on this supposed killing spree. And their parents or the young girl's parents, Charla is the younger character. Her parents, they're in the process of adopting her. She's their foster child. They are FBI profilers. And these characters, Quincy and Rainey, they're actually characters that Lisa has been writing about for years. She began this FBI series like in the late 1990s, maybe about 97, 98. I think the first book that featured one of them was called The Perfect Husband back in 1997. I don't recall having read that one, but it's definitely the kind of book, when you pick up a book and you realize it's a part of a series, this definitely makes me want to go and read some of the other books from the series. But it was a very good book. It surprised me. I love it when a mystery surprises me, and they usually do, because who I thought was the culprit was not. And I don't want to spoil anything by giving too much of it, but very good book. And it was really funny because it was a good thing. I was at work finishing up this book today, and my manager had not distributed our work in the morning like she normally does. So I sped read through the last half of this book more than I've ever done before, because I'm that type of reader. I like to soak it all in. I like to read all the descriptions as long as they're not going on and on and on. I do like to soak it up. I'm not a skimmer, which is why it takes me a while to read because I read a little bit. It's time to put it aside, pick it back up, but I don't skip through. I don't understand how people read and they jump to the end of the book. I like to take it all the way through, enjoy the ride. I appreciate the work that the author puts into their book. And one thing that I found since becoming an author myself, back before I wrote my first book, I became really infatuated with reading like about the author or the acknowledgments in the book, and you just get a real feel for the author and how they come up with their stories, and I like how they do their research because you think, how do you write so accurately or coming across so accurately about characters in different fields and different personalities, and there's a lot of interviewing and research that goes into that process. And now that I'm coming into beginning my third fiction project, I find myself doing more of that, wanting to talk about people who are going through or experiencing the type of things that I want to write about. So I actually did one of my first interviews earlier this summer. I'm not in the process of writing yet. I'm kind of building my material for the next book that I'm going to be writing. But it's really interesting, getting into the researching and not just going strictly from your imagination. But this is a really good book. I'll put a link to the Goodreads description of it, and I'll be back soon. Thanks.